We've had a few days, it's kind of like spring. You can see the mountains behind me here. That is the west side. Hey folks, just wanted to spend a little time in the woods with you. I want to show you how to make a toggle. I don't know if you can hear it. There's a plane flying nearby. There are airplanes flying through Sequatchie Valley all the time because they're just sightseeing. It's just so beautiful. And today on the way home from work, I saw several parasails in the air, people flying around. Got me a little cup of Earl Grey here. I'm gonna take a drink. I wish you were here with me. I've got a limb here. It's about between a half, 3/4 inch diameter. And I've got my Tahoma field knife, okay? Got that, one of my favorite knives. I'm gonna make a short stick out of this and make a toggle. I'm gonna give this a couple of good chops. About right there. That's way too long, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Ready? Okay. Tahoma field knife, love it. Got me a little stick here. Now, I could use this knife to make this a toggle and to work on it, okay? I'm gonna use a different knife just to show you. This is my Ka-Bar, Becker BK16. Love this little knife. It feels really good in your hand. Now, I've done a few things to it. I've made a few mods. First of all, it comes with a black coating. And I'll put that on the screen so you can see how it comes. And I've had this knife for years. It's a good little knife. The one thing that disappointed me, well, first let me tell you about my mods. Obviously I stripped the black junk off of it. And at one time I had a patina finish on the blade, but I didn't really like it. So then I just kind of scraped it off, and it's not real pretty, but you know what? It does the job. Drop point, again, BK16. Now, it comes with a set of black scales and a set of these Coyote brown scales. The other mod I made was a very simple mod. This is sports wrap, like you would get at a sports store to put on a baseball bat and whatnot. And it really gives the handle already has a fantastic feel, but that gives it a little grip that I like. Now you'll see an indentation here and here, and that is for holding your stick when you're using a bow drill to build a fire, which I don't really do that. That's a lot of work, and I've always wanted to try it. We may do that one of these days. But you just set your bow drill in that and give it a little downward pressure, and it keeps it off your hand or keeps you from using a rock or whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to work on my toggle. Now what I'm going to do, to be perfectly honest, is just for fun. You can use that as a toggle right there, just like it is. But I just wanted to put a notch in it. So let's go around the stick with a straight cut. Okay, and then I'm going to go at a 45 and cut into that. clean that out a little. It's hard to do and keep it in the camera. There, see my little notch? Now what is that for? Well, with that, again, like I said, is that necessary? No, it's just fun. It just gives you a little practice with your knife, you know, that's all it is. You could use it just like it is. But in this case, you can take your rope or your bank line, or in this case, my paracord, and I can run it around there, and it gives it a place to be seated in that. So you can use that. Then I can tie that up, and instead of setting my pack, for example, on the ground, if the ground happens to be wet, I don't want to set my pack on the ground, I can hang this up in a tree and put my pack handle right around this toggle. And again, this toggle's pretty big. It doesn't have to be that big. It can be, you know, even this size. But hang my pack handle around that toggle and just hang it right on the tree and keep it up off the wet ground. Or I'm talking about my pack, but it could be any of your gear. Now I'm going to try to do this where you can see. There's a particular knot I use more than any other knot. I just love this knot. I use it for everything. In fact, on the first video that we did for Kyle's Corner, I did the handheld saw, and I actually showed that knot in that video. But I'm going to go around. I just went around that stick. I hope you can see it. Okay. Now I'm going to take the working end here and make a loop. See that? I'm going to put it under this side. Then again, take this working end and run it through that hole and tighten it up. Okay. And then the beauty of it is, it doesn't look like it's very tight, does it? Look. But the thing is when you put weight on it or put tension on it, it tightens itself. And I said on the handheld saw video, this is the knot I actually use even to tie my hammock up to the tree. And you know, if it'll hold me up, it'll hold quite a bit. So there's that knot. Now, why do I like that knot so much? Well, because it is so strong. In fact, the more weight you put on it, the more tension you put on it, the tighter and stronger it gets. But what happens when you're finished? That, it comes right undone. So, once again, Ka-Bar Becker BK16. Love this little knife. I normally don't carry both these knives. I carry one or the other into the woods. I guess it just depends on what kind of mood I'm in, because you can do almost anything you want to do with both of these. Now this one obviously makes a much better chopper than this one. And you would think then, along that train of thought, that this one, the BK16, would be better for small tasks like what I just did on the toggle. But you know, as I said earlier, you can see the different handholds on here. I can go all the way back here and get a really good swing. I can choke up just a little bit and get nearly as good a swing and better control. And then I can even choke up all the way to here, okay? I can take that and do just the same thing, you see that I did with the smaller knife. So, truth be told, this is my favorite knife. But come on, guys, who wants one knife? Sometimes I love my little BK16. So it's whatever you, I'll put links to them in the bottom. You can check them out. I did want to say one thing about this. The Tahoma field knife is a true field knife. And what do I mean by that? Well, by the whole design, but there's one thing in particular that this one, I can't believe they didn't do it. I can't believe they didn't think of it. This one has a 90-degree spine, okay? Right here, 90-degree spine. What does that mean? It means it's flat and flat. 90-degree gives you a good edge right there. I can't believe they didn't do that on the BK16. In fact, I don't know how good the camera is, but if you'll notice some scrapes right here, I actually, you see, it's not 90 degree. I actually filed that down and made it 90 degree right here and gave it an edge. Now, what good is that? I mean, what's the 90-degree spine for? Well, obviously, I'm going to choke up on it. I can make feather sticks, if you're familiar with that terminology. I can make feather sticks and use that to help get a fire started. This will catch sparks off a ferro rod very easily, and because it's thinner and because you can cut down, if the wood happens to be wet, you can cut down and get into the drier parts of the wood. This will catch sparks and catch fire much easier, okay? Even finer than this, if you want to really make some good tinder, you take the spine of that knife. Well, and let's talk about a ferro rod very quickly. If I'm going to strike a ferro rod into that, I'm not going to use my blade and take a chance on messing up my blade. This is important, right? So I'm going to take the 90-degree edge of that spine and I'm going to strike sparks off of that. Now, as I began to say, if you want some really fine tinder, finer than making feather sticks, then you take that 90-degree spine and you run it down. It's going to be hard to do on the camera here. You run it down the edge of that wood, and man, it just, now I'm not doing a very good job here because I'm having to hold this up. Normally I would put this down on the ground, okay, down on the ground, and I would scrape down and really get some good fine tinder to get a fire started. So that is what that 90-degree spine is good for. Now here's the BK16, where I actually made a 90-degree spine by filing that down. Look, that looked like that. I should have showed you. It looked like that, and I scraped it down just with the 90-degree spine of that knife. And that will make some really good fire starting tinder. Okay. Another good thing about both these knives is this. This is a Tops Tahoma field knife made in the USA. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera because I've done so much to the blade, but this says BK K-Bar, Olean, New York, USA. This is a K-Bar, BK16. Both made in the USA.